Hey guys, hey, it's Anne Marie and welcome to the Anti-HR. And on this video, we are going to be talking planning for the new work year, right? So I spoke recently about things to think about in terms of getting ready for reviews. And now I want to talk a little bit about things that you should think about as you get ready to go from one work year into a new year, whether you're operating on a fiscal 12-month year or whether you're operating on a different type of year. January always signifies a beginning for most of us. And so as you go into your holiday break, some of you are probably taking off all of next week, and some of you are even going to be away from work until after January 2nd. I think a lot of people's first work day will probably be around January 6th, if you're lucky. For those in corporate settings, others who are in different kinds of settings like retail and other places and factories are probably not getting as much time off, or might be, depending if you're a union worker or so on. But either way, January tends to signify a beginning for many of us. Even those of us who are entrepreneurs, in December and November, we're planning for our businesses for the new year. So as you start thinking about the new year, especially if you are a person who is not self-employed and is working for other people, then this video is for you. I'm going to share some essential career planning tips and help you start your year off strong, and also keeping top of mind your workplace rights, right? So let's ensure you're ready for a new year, and let's get started. So a great way to get started for the new year, believe it or not, is to start looking backwards, right? You want to think about what went right in your last year and what did not go so right, so you can plan to address those things in the new year. So start out with what went right, right? Write down the things that went right. What were the big wins? What were the big victories? What were the big accomplishments, right? Write those things down. Think about even the hard lessons that you learned from the big wins, right? And write those things down. Now, let's shift a little bit to what exactly do you want to achieve in terms of the next year, right? What do you want to achieve at work? What are the goals that you have? What are the things that you want to do? One of the things that I do think is very useful is to use SMART goals. And that is capital SMART, SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, right? That's a very good way to go about tracking and paying attention and setting goals at work and elsewhere, honestly. I use the SMART goal method even for setting personal and professional goals in my life, right? So that is something that I definitely recommend that you keep top of mind as you think through and set your goals for the next year. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not take this opportunity to remind you about the Anti-HR Documentation Journal. It's perfect for capturing progress and career milestones. It is a downloadable e-book and e-journal that you can grab on my website and use it to track all the different incidents and including goals at your job. Write down things that have happened throughout the year, pay attention and write them down. And this is an excellent way to do it because you can just enter all the information into the journal. You can also attach files in there and so on. So this is a great place for doing that. So I suggest grabbing access to the journal and using it throughout the year, and January is the perfect time to start. I always say the best time to document your workplace is before anything goes wrong. So starting in January, start writing down things in your journal about your work environment. Pay attention to what's going on in your work environment. Write down things that you plan to do. Write down how you interact with your manager and your other coworkers. Keep track of incidents, not just things that happen to you, but things that you see and observe. The documentation journal is perfect for that. So I highly recommend that if you don't have one, that you grab access to it now and plan to start using it in January as soon as your new work year starts. Now, the other thing you want to make sure that you are thinking about and have top of mind as you start your new work year is to make sure you're heading into the new year knowing and understanding your workplace rights. So how do you do that? Well, you want to start by making sure you review your company's policies on discrimination, harassment, and workplace conduct. But don't just stop there. Make sure you also have a handle on understanding the legal protections provided to you by federal law as well as local, whether it's city or state law, okay? Make sure that you download a copy of your employment handbook, right? Make sure you highlight policies that you believe are relevant to you, and make sure that you have access to that outside of your job. This is very, very important. And you've heard me mention this before if you've been following me for a while. It's very important that you have access to your employee handbook. I know a lot of you are in work environments where all this information is on an online portal now. And the problem is that a lot of people are not, accessing these things regularly. And they think, oh, I'll just go back to the portal whenever I need it. I highly recommend that you have access to these things independent of that portal. So if your handbook is on there, download it from the portal and keep a copy of it at home. Do not think that, oh, I'll just get it from the portal. Because if something happens at work, a lot of times the first thing that they do is cut your access to things. And being on a portal makes that easier for them to do. Never think that they created these portals for you. They created it for themselves. So make it your business to download anything from that portal that you need to have and keep it on a drive at your home, right? Do not rely on that portal and having access to it all the time. The other thing that's important is that you understand your workplace rights in terms of what the laws are. So I have created a roadmap to workplace rights that summarizes very important legal protections that employees have, laws that are federal that employees need to know about. And they're all summarized in this downloadable ebook that I created, and you can also grab from my website. I do not go into state laws because that would be thousands of pages long, but I do encourage you to use that as the first step to educating yourself about what the state law provisions are around the same rights that you have at a federal level. But always remember that federal law supersedes state law. So even if your state doesn't have a law around a certain right, they still have to follow the federal law. Okay? Your employer still has to follow the federal law. Even if your state doesn't have protections for you that are strong, there are federal protections and you need to know what they are. So make sure that you have downloaded that roadmap to workplace rights. Right now it's on sale until January 2nd. So I really encourage those of you who have not yet gotten a hold of that document to make sure that you have it. It's very important to know what rights you have right now so that if any of them start going away, you'll also understand what it is that you're losing and be prepared to take whatever necessary action is to try to protect yourself. So right now, all of the key workplace rights that employees need to know about, it's not every single one, but it's the most important ones in my view, are inside of that ebook. And I highly recommend that you use that as a starting point to educating yourself about your workplace rights. Before I go any further, I also want to make sure that I tell you that I have written a blog post about, planning for the new year in your workplace and things that you should do. So this is a more detailed blog post than what is in this video, and it is attached as a link in the description of this video. So please make sure that you read that blog in its entirety so that you can really understand everything that you should think about as you are planning for a new year at work. Also, I haven't said it yet, but if you're enjoying this video so far, now is a great time for you to stop, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and later at the end of this video, share it with a friend if you think it'll be helpful to them. Now, the third thing that you want to make sure that you do as you're planning and thinking about what you want to accomplish in your job in the next workplace year is to address workplace concerns before they escalate. So if you face challenges at work like microaggressions, retaliation, or bias, now's the time to address them. Don't let them sit any longer. Unfortunately, when employees speak up about any kinds of issues at work, but especially violations of the law at work, they often will face backlash in the form of retaliation. So if this sounds familiar, you need to know that you have options. I want to make sure that employees understand what they need to do if they feel that they have been discriminated against at work. That's why I created my master course, How to Ask for an Exit from a Discriminatory Hostile Work Environment with Cash and Actually Get It. This course walks you through how to recognize when staying is no longer worth it, negotiate your exit on your terms, and secure compensation during your departure. No one should feel trapped in a toxic work environment, and no one should especially feel trapped in a discriminatory, hostile, and toxic work environment. If you're starting your year in an environment that you know you need to exit, this course is going to help you do it in a way that serves you. My holiday sale is still happening, so it's the perfect time to grab your access to the course. So go to my website and get it at the discounted price. But whatever you do, if this is you, if I'm describing your experience, you have the right to do something about it, and you have the power to do something about it. So grab your access and do what needs to be done. Now, the next thing that it's very important for you to have a plan to do in the new year is prioritize your professional development. I cannot overemphasize the importance of using the professional development that you have at your disposal in your workplace. Now, everyone doesn't have equal access to professional development. Some employers make it very easy for you to access, and some employers don't make it as easy for you to access. But it's very important for you to know what professional development benefits your employer provides, if any, and that you take advantage of all of it. Take advantage of anything that is available to you. So whether it's mastering new skills, getting new certifications, stepping into a new role, professional development should be your top priority. Make sure you're ready to take the steps that you need by educating yourself about what is available for you, right? And a lot of times, again, that wonderful online portal that they love to tell you about at work is where a lot of this information is. And always remember, if you don't see something that you are looking for, go to HR and ask questions. Don't sit back and wait for anybody to give you the information. Seek it out. This is your professional development. Put yourself in the driver's seat of your career and make sure you're taking advantage of whatever your employer offers. The next thing that you want to make sure that you're doing from the very beginning of the year, and this goes double if your company operates on a 12-month calendar year, but even if your reviews don't start till, for example, some companies, they start their review year on July 1st, for example, and they end their fiscal year in June. Regardless of when it takes place, make sure that you're setting yourself up for performance reviews from the very beginning. Performance reviews happen year-round, so why not start thinking about it from the very beginning of the year? You should always have your performance top of mind and always be thinking about what you need to do to ensure that your supervisor, your management, your company is thinking about you in the way that you think that they should be thinking about you relevant to your performance. Start now by tracking your goals, tracking your contributions, paying attention to making sure that you have a process for tracking all of these things from the very beginning of the year. And as I said before, your AntiHR Documentation Journal can be a great tool for this. It doesn't have to just be about writing down grievances and writing down things that went bad at work. It can also be a place where you write down the good things that have happened and the good things that you accomplished in your work environment, so that when it comes time for you to write your self-evaluation, for example, you will have all that information in one place, okay? So it's very important from the beginning of the work year for you to be thinking about how you're going to keep track of and document your achievements in your workplace, your wins, the things that you accomplished for your company and for your team, so that you can bring those things up when performance review time comes around. As you can see from everything I've said in this video, planning the year out means being intentional and being serious about it from the very beginning. It means being proactive and prepared, okay? So you want to reflect on your wins, reflect on protecting your rights, and set big goals for your future. Don't leave this in the hands of anyone else. Do not expect anyone else to do this for you. Do not expect your manager. Do not expect your manager's manager. Don't expect your coworkers to be helping you do this. This is your job and your job alone. It is your responsibility to put yourself in the driver's seat of your career and to make sure that you are being intentional, proactive, and really thinking through the things that are important for you to ensure your career advancement. There are always going to be obstacles, but those who are ready in the beginning are prepared to face those obstacles if and when they come. As I always say, you got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So I hope this video and the tips that I've provided about planning and getting ready for the new year have been helpful, right? I really hope that they have given you something to think about. Those of you who haven't already been thinking about this, that you think about the importance of having a plan when you return back to the office, whether that's on Thursday of this week, right after Christmas, or whether it's not until the beginning of January. Whenever you're going back to work, I hope that this video will help you in terms of getting ready to do that in a way that is most effective and serving to you. Always remember that you are not there to just serve the advancement and the goals and the success of your company. You are there to serve yourself. These are transactional relationships. You have been hired to do a job and you're being paid for it. And that is what you need to always remember. They're not your friends. They're not your family. They are your employers. And the thing that you do owe them is to do a good job in exchange for what you are paid to do it, right? But at the end of the day, if you want to be successful, you have to map the course for ensuring that you are successful in your job. No one else is going to do it for you, right? So if you want certain goals and things to be met at your job, you have to have a plan for making those things happen. Make your manager and your colleagues a partner in that, but that has to be your goal and your objective. Closed mouths don't get fed. Don't expect anybody to give you anything that you don't ask for. Make sure you have a plan for how you're going to go about getting the things that you need so that you can have the best possible experience in your work environment. So I hope this video was helpful. As always, I'm Anne Marie. I'm the Anti-HR HR lady. I really hope that all of you have the happiest of holidays with your families and friends. And remember that those are truly those people in your life that matter. In the end, it's not your job. It's not your employers. It's those people in your life that matter. So I hope that as you take breaks for Christmas Day, which is this week, I hope that you will set aside any stressful, things that are happening in your workplace. Don't let those things encroach on your enjoyment of your holiday season and the enjoyment of your time with your families. Set those things aside and plan to just come back to them when you go back to work, whenever that is. And just remember that it is your responsibility to ensure that you have the experiences that you need to have at work by being prepared and ready and intentional about it. HR is not your enemy, but they're definitely not your friend. Have a happy holiday, you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.